Welcome back, pro wrestling fans. Welcome back, IWC. It's me. It's me. It's the G.O.C. Coming to you live to tape 25 feet below the surface of the earth for another edition of Chaos Corner here at Chaos Headquarters for today. This date in pro wrestling history for December 19th. Fans, you're not going to want to miss this episode. It's going to be an extravaganza, a bonanza of unbelievable, historic, priceless, classic pro wrestling history. Thank you for being here. I can't thank you enough. We are in Christmas week. Christmas is this weekend. So Merry Christmas to everyone out there. Let's give a shout out to our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, because without him, none of this would be possible, including you, the fans. Hit that like button, subscribe, leave a comment, inbox me, email me, do something. Once again, much love and respect to everyone out there. We're right on the precipice, as I said yesterday, of 1,000 subscribers, earning it the hard way. One man, unique, unedited, unscripted, raw dog for you, the fans, with my over 50 years as a researcher, a scout, an agent, a producer, a mark, that's right, I said it, a mark, and I'm damn proud of it. In my over 3 decades as a pro wrestling manager that took the fucking bumps, that's right, like Jim Cornette, Bobby Heenan, J.J. Dillon, Jimmy Hart, the list goes on and on, Captain Lou Albano, Classy Freddie Blassie, and yours truly, the Guardian of Chaos. And I'll say that to say this because I tell it like it is. We're going to jump off all those other social media platforms, Instagram, X, aka Twitter, Facebook, Gitter, Gab, Truth Social, Rumble. Meet me back here on Guardian of Chaos, the YouTube channel. I'm amped. I'm lit for today's episode. All right, fans, I just wanted to give you a little piss and vinegar to start off today of pro wrestling history for December 19th. Follow me on X at Big Daddy G.O.C. And the G.O.C. stands for the Guardian of Chaos. On Instagram, it's the Guardian of Chaos. Of course, Guardian of Chaos on the YouTube channel. On Facebook, there's 2 accounts. That's right, there's 2. Prodigio Fidelis El Guardian in honor of my heritage. And Jabroni. That's right, for all you jabronis, geeks, goons, creepers, stalkers that are all out there watching. And you know that I know that you're watching and reporting and taking little notes and doing whatever it is that you're doing, because 90% of you are unsubscribed that watch this channel. My loyalists are the ones that are here every day, so I can't thank you guys enough for that. Let me have a little sip of the espresso, the French vanilla. Today, we are here mid-morning. I had a couple of things to take care of, but we are here. As I said, I'm going to be here, try to be here all week, leading into Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. And then next week into New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. We're going to have a lot going on here at Chaos Corner. So I just wanted to let you guys know that. Stay in touch with the community page, and you'll see all the updates here on the YouTube channel. Chindan, salud, cheers, whatever you want to say. Grab a beverage, grab a snack. Sit back and relax, as they say, podcast and chill, because this is not only a podcast. This is a TV show, a TV series, reality TV, episodic YouTube, right here. Big shout out to all the other channels that I moderate for. You guys know that I not moderate for the #1 fucking podcast on YouTube in the IWC, and that would be JD and Off the Script, along with his broadcast partners, Andrew Baydala, a.k.a. Ticket Drew, and my buddy, Jesse, the Chi-Town Smark. And, of course, the OG of pro wrestling podcasts, and that would be one Don Tony. There's nobody like Don Tony as far as the OG. Also, my boys, Comic Book Bob and Hollywood, along with Here's Johnny, over at the Wrestling Council. And of course, I was just added on to the #1 New York Mets podcast on YouTube, and that would be my friend Wardy. That's right, Wardy. You gotta believe in the Kings of Queens, what this guy is doing over on YouTube and all social media platforms and covering the New York Mets is second to none with almost 25,000 followers. Thank you, Wardy NYM, for bringing me along as a moderator. Fans, that's what I do besides Guardian of Chaos on the YouTube channel. And as I said, going into 2024, rumor has it, we'll be covering the New York Mets here live. You know my two loves, pro wrestling and baseball. But can I have another sip? You guys got time, right? I got a lot of stuff to go over today. I really do. Stand by. Don't go anywhere, man. Big tribute back to almost 24 years ago and the Subway Series between the Yankees and the Mets in the year 2000. Holy bejesus, talk about history. Bing, bing, bing! You remember Ricochet Rabbit? Because I know that I do. All right, fans, here we go. School is in session. Sit back, take notes, and know that I know. December 19th, 1938, all the way back in the time machine here on Chaos Corner. Cy Williams defeats Yvon Robert for the Montreal World Heavyweight title in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, ending Robert's third reign. How about that? December 19th, 1939, Billy Widener wins a tournament in Dayton, Ohio to become the first Midwest Wrestling Association World Junior Heavyweight Champion. December 19th, 1947, Tug Carlson defeats Orville Brown in St. Joseph, Missouri to win the Midwest Wrestling Association's heavyweight title, ending Orville Brown's 9th reign. Back into the time machine here at Chaos Corner. December 19th, 1957. Dory Funk wins the Amarillo NWA North American Heavyweight title for the third time by defeating Danny Plechas in Amarillo, Texas. Say that 3 times fast. Fast forward in the time machine. December 19th, 1962. The Destroyer and Dan Mukian defeat Haystacks Calhoun and Abe Jacobs to win the NWA International TV Tag Team titles in Los Angeles, California. December 19th, 1963. Sonny Myers and Pat O'Connor defeat the Mongolian Stomper and Mike Sharp in a tournament final in Kansas City, Kansas to become the first Central States NWA North American Tag Team Champions. December 19th, 1968. Billy Robinson defeats Toyo Nobori in Okayama, Japan to win the first ever IWE, the International Pro Wrestling World Series tournament to become the first IWE World Heavyweight Champion. How about that for priceless historical facts here on Chaos Corner? Today, this date in pro wrestling history for December 19th. Back into the time machine. The year 1969. And we're going to be here for a little while. December 19th, 1969, Eric Watts is born in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. That's right, the son of Bill Watts. Happy birthday, Eric Watts, who's, I believe, 56 today. How about the push that kid got in WCW and TNA? Was a heck of a college athlete, but didn't really work out in the world of pro wrestling in the major leagues, so to speak. So happy birthday, Eric Watts. December 19th, 1969. Let's stay in 1969, December 19th. Villano 4 is born in Tijuana, Mexico. Happy birthday to the legendary luchador Villano 4 in the unbelievable history of the Villanos. December 19th, 1969. The Assassins, that's right, Jody Hamilton and Tom Renesto, defeat Buddy Fuller and Ray Gunkel for the NWA Georgia Tag Team titles in Atlanta, Georgia. This began the Assassins' 5th reign. Perhaps one of the greatest tag teams of all time, the Assassins, especially with Jody Hamilton and Tom Renesto. As I said, we'll stay in 1969, December 19th. Carlos Elio Colasetti defeats Rey Mendoza to win the NWA World Light Heavyweight title in Mexico City, Mexico, ending Mendoza's third reign. December 19th, 1969. The Great Kojika, or Kohika, defeats the Man of 1,000 Masks, Mil Mascaras, for the NWA America's Heavyweight title in Los Angeles, California, to end Mascaras' third reign. Mascaras really was an incredible luchador and pro wrestler. I guess which is one and the same. December 19th, 1969. King Curtis Ayukea defeats Billy Robinson for the International Wrestling Alliance World Heavyweight title in Sydney, Australia, to begin Ayukea's second reign. How about that? King Curtis was one legit badass. On that same card, Spiros Arion and Mario Milano defeat Brute Bernard and Skull Murphy to end the fifth reign for Bernard and Murphy as the IWA Tag Team Champions. Let's fast forward here in the time machine. December 19th, 1970. The Giant Baba wins his third NWA International Heavyweight title from Gene Kiniski in Los Angeles, California. We'll stay in 1970, December 19th. Crazy Luke Graham, as he would be known in his latter years, defeats Bobby Shane for the NWA Georgia TV title in Atlanta, Georgia. December 19th, 1973. Ken Mantell ends the legendary Danny Hodges' 7th NWA World Junior Heavyweight title reign in Jackson, Mississippi. Talk about shooters. Danny Hodge was unbelievable as a collegiate grappler. December 19th, 1977. The Worldwide Wrestling Federation at Madison Square Garden in New York City with over 22,000 fans in attendance. Let that sink in. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Let that marinate. Talk about the golden era of pro wrestling. I remember it like yesterday. What was I, 15, 16 years old at the time? Unbelievable. Here's the card that night at the Garden. Special Delivery Jones and Baron Mikel Cicluna fight to a 15-minute draw. The Golden Terror and Dominic DiNucci, I almost said DiMucci, Dominic DiNucci fight to a double countout. Now, this match wasn't shown on Madison Square Garden Network at the time. This match was not shown. Instead, they showed a bout between then, I believe, NWA World Heavyweight Champion Harley Race as he defeated Rick Martel. How about that for useless tidbits and facts of information that you guys probably didn't know? On that same card, Madison Square Garden, 1977 for the Worldwide Wrestling Federation. Butcher Voshan defeats Johnny Rivera, who was substituting for Victor Rivera. The Golden Boy Arnold Skolin goes over on Captain Louis Albano by countout. Bob Backlund defeats Mr. Fuji with classy Freddie Blassie. Mil Mascaras, with Bob Backlund in his corner, defeats the WWF Heavyweight Champion Superstar Billy Graham by referee stoppage, which you never see in today's industry in 2023. I've been talking about that for days here on Pro Wrestling History. Well, let that sink in. The American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, defeats Stan the Man Stasiak. Chief Jay Strongbow defeats half of the Worldwide Wrestling Federation Tag Team Champions, Professor Toru Tanaka, by disqualification. Tony Garea and Larry Zbyszko defeat Dynamite Jack Evans and Luscious Larry Sharp in a best-of-3 falls match, 2 falls to 1. What a card there in Legends and True History in 1977 from the Garden. on this date, December 19th. Let's move on, fans. December 19th, 1978. Joe LeDuc defeats Mr. Uganda, a.k.a. at the time, Cyclone Negro, in Tampa, Florida to win the NWA Florida Heavyweight title. TV title, that is. Oh, no, wait. Let me double check. The Florida Heavyweight title by Joe LeDuc. December 19th, 1979. Wayne Bridges defeats Spiros Arion for the United Kingdom World Heavyweight title in London, England. We cover it all here on Chaos Corner, from coast to coast and pillar to post and border to border, as I always say. Let's forge ahead and move on here on this date in pro wrestling history. Can I have another sip of coffee? What do you think? Merry Christmas to you. A ho, ho, ho. Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle. No? I'm in a festive mood. Nothing like a cup of Java to give you a little kickstart. December 19th, 1984. Ricky and Rocky Johnson defeat Superfly Tui and Super Samoan Sakalia, I believe I said that right, Sakalia, to win the NWA Polynesian Pacific Tag Team titles in Honolulu, Hawaii. Pe'aoi, melehini kane, pupule, wiki wiki, aloha and mahalo to all my friends over in the islands. And did I ever tell you guys that, like in the mid-90s, how I tried to get over to Polynesian Pacific Championship Wrestling to be booked by the late, great Leah Maivia? Leah treated me like gold. I bet you I called her, probably out of annoyance, probably at least every week for a good 6 months to a year trying to get booked. And she said, Big Daddy, I'll book you and use you if you can get over to Hawaii. And at that time, I had to jerk off the dog to feed the cat, so I didn't have the money. I mean, no offense to anybody. Don't be so sensitive. It's a joke, man. Kayfabe. But Leah Maivia, I will never forget my conversations and how generous and gracious Leah Maivia was to yours truly, and would have booked the G.O.C. Big Daddy over for a Polynesian Pacific Championship Wrestling. Never made it, even thought about transferring my job over to Hawaii, but you had to be a 6-month resident for myself and law enforcement in order to be a resident over there. So things obviously didn't work out. I believe that was 94, 95, if my memory serves me correctly. I have amnesia and deja vu at the same time. I think I've forgotten this before. My mind's like a lazy Susan. It'll come back around. December 19th, 1985. The American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, defeats Buddy Landel in Albuquerque, New Mexico for the NWA National Heavyweight title. Here's the caveat. Here's the sidebar. Here's the historical notes that you may not know, and that's why I'm here. Pay attention and listen up. This match between Rhodes and Landel for the NWA National Heavyweight title was reported as fictitious, a match made up by Dusty Rhodes himself, who was the booker for Georgia Championship Wrestling at the time. After firing Buddy Landel due to his ongoing drug problems, and that's how Dusty made up this fictitious storyline and bout during the magazine era. You won't get this kind of information anywhere else except here with the G.O.C. And I'll say that to say this because I tell it like it is. Let's move on. December 19th, 1992. ECW in Morrisville, Pennsylvania. On that card. In the infancy of ECW. Because you know it was Eastern Championship Wrestling at one time. And I even worked for Eastern Championship, which was owned by the legendary music man himself, Mr. Tom Jeanette. That's right, Tommy Jeanette. One heck of a promoter. One heck of a great guy. One heck of a musician. ECW in Morrisville, Pennsylvania. Max Thrasher defeats J.T. Smith. Chris Michaels and Damian Stone defeat Tommy Stetson and Larry Winters via countout. Tommy Cairo goes over on the Samoan Warrior. ECW heavyweight champion the Sandman defeats the Rockin' Rebel by disqualification. ECW TV champion Glenn Osborne defeats the Canadian Wolfman to retain the title. The Hell Riders defeat ECW tag team champions the Super Destroyers via disqualification. Obviously, the Super Destroyers retain the belt. JT Smith wins an 11-man battle royal on that same card. And the legendary late great Davey Boy Smith defeats the legendary late great Superfly Jimmy Snuka. We move on here on Chaos Corner. Let's stay in 1992. That's the second time I fucked that up, and I don't mean to cuss. You know what Bully Ray Dudley said to me? Back then he was Bubba Ray in like 05, 06. When myself and the Outcast Killers, Oman Tortuga and Diablo Santiago, went up against Bubba, Bully Ray, and Devon for the NWA World Tag Team titles in a series of tables matches all over the greater New England tri-state Northeast area. They're on the channel here. You can see them on the network. And yes, I took the what's up from Devon and Bubba, and of course Devon with "Oh my brother, testify," and Bubba Ray with "Devon, get the tables." That's right. It's all on videotape here on the channel. He had me back in the locker room, and he said, Big Daddy G.O.C. He said nobody really knew it. The fans didn't know, but we know it. He said, come on. And I had already been in the business at that point. I don't know, 15 years, 18 years. He said, give Big Daddy 5 spots and he'll fuck up 4 of them. I consider that to be a compliment coming from Bully Ray. Perhaps the greatest tag team of all time, or one of the greatest. 2-time Hall of Famer, host of Busted Open Radio, or co-host, and then host of Busted Open After Dark. Thank you, Bully Ray. I'll never forget that compliment. Let's get back to what's going on here. December 19th, 1992. The Catch Wrestling Association held its Euro Catch Festival in Bremen, Germany. How about that? Dave Taylor defeats Giant Haystacks in round 4. The CWA Tag Team Champions of Larry Cameron and Mad Bull Buster defeat Derek Dukes and Steve Regal. Bruiser Mastino defeats Cannonball Grizzly in round 3 of a body slam match. Now remember, the Catch Wrestling Association, their rules by rounds. David Finlay defeats Eddie Gilbert in round 7 to win the vacant CWA World Middleweight title. Buffalo Patterson defeats the Warlord in round 5 to win the vacant CWA Intercontinental Heavyweight title. Jushin Thunder Liger defeats Franz Schumann in round 9. And Road Warrior Hawk, oh, what a rush, defeats CWA Heavyweight Champion Rambo in round 6 to win the title. Make sure I have all my notes correct here. You have to do your due diligence and your research. That's why you guys are here. Fast forward and back into the time machine. December 19th, 1993. Connect defeats the Canadian Vampire Casanova. Now, who would that be? You know, this never gets old, right? We have to do it. Anyone? Bueller? Anyone? That's right. The Canadian Vampire Casanova was none other than Vampiro. So Kanik defeats Vampiro in Mexico to win his 12th UWA heavyweight title. How about that? Back into the time machine. December 19th, 1994. Tommy Rich, Wildfire Tommy Rich, defeats Brian Christopher in a loser leaves town match to win the USWA heavyweight title. This ended Christopher's, listen up, 15th reign as the USWA champion and began Tommy Rich's 3rd reign. How about that? 15 reigns by Brian Christopher, which means you lost 15 times. Fast forward here in the time machine on Chaos Corner. Guardian of Chaos, the YouTube channel. December 19th, 1998. ECW at the ECW Arena. Here's the card. Nova goes over on Steve Corino. Yoshihiro Tajiri goes over on Antifaz del Norte. The FBI, oh, that's so, huh? Little Guido and Tracy Smothers defeat Danny Doring and Roadkill. Lance Storm defeats Rex King and Wolfie D in a 3-way match. Spike Dudley goes over on Skull Von Crush. ECW Tag Champ, or at least one half, and ECW TV Champion, the whole fucking show, RVD, Mr. Monday Night, whatever you want to call him, still competing here in 2023 in AEW when he debuted in 1990. How about that? RVD defeats Balls Mahoney to retain the ECW TV title. That's right, Balls Mahoney. He's got big balls. We've got big balls. They've got big balls. She's got big balls. Well, that doesn't make any sense. But we've got the biggest balls of them all. Rest in peace, Balls Mahoney. He was a good guy. Had a chance to work with Balls in a 10-man barbed wire match with the likes of Jason fucking Knight, 187 Homicide, Bull Dread, Ron Zombie, Kurt Adonis, third-generation grappler Flying Fred Curry, low-life Louis Ramos, the hardcore insanity nut job. What a match that was. Talk about your bloodletting. 10-man barbed wire match. It's here on the network. It's on the channel. You could see it. And yes, I was busted open several times. Let's get back onto the card here. 1998 ECW at the ECW Arena. The Dudleys, Big Dick, Bubba Ray, and Devon defeat Mike Lazansky, the One-Man Gang, and Rod Price. ECW Tag Champ, one half at least. The Homicidal, Suicidal, Genocidal, Sabu defeats Justin Credible, and the FTW Champ, Taz. And we know now the FTW Championship is currently in 2023 in AEW, and his son, Hook, even held the belt for a little while. How about that for facts? Now in that match, in that 3-way, Taz pinned Justin Credible, and Sabu pinned Taz, obviously to win the bout. Also on that card, the ECW Heavyweight Champion, the franchise Shane Douglas, defeats Lance Storm. We fast forward to the next year, December 19th, 1999, WCW's 17th annual Starrcade at the MCI Center in Washington, D.C. What a shithole D.C. is now, huh? That's for sure, government-wise and every other way-wise. In front of only 8,500 fans. Now, I say only 8,500 when it was drawing over 20,000 in the 80s, into the early 90s, but this is when Bischoff and Shitstain, Russo, and I don't know, no offense to anybody. I mean, no offense. I'm just saying. And you could tell by the gimmicks and by the card I'm about to report how far from the 80s of the NWA into Jim Crockett Promotions and then WCW, Ted Turner, and then the unbelievable Monday Night Wars between Raw and Nitro, and how far they fell in 99, 2000, and then when the WWF bought them out. You'll see as I report here, and the gimmicks and the storylines. Go back and check it out in history. The Mamalukes, oh, hey, that's a ripoff of the FBI. Big Vito, Johnny the Bull, with Tony Marinara, defeat Disco Inferno and Lash LaRue. Now, this I wasn't too crazy about, and I say it all the time, between intergender and what's going on today in the business in 2023. They had it back then, too, with the shit storylines and booking. It's just not believable. It doesn't sell. I'm just telling you how I feel about it. That's my opinion. You don't like it? Well, that's too bad. Change the fucking channel. I apologize for cussing. Medusa pins WCW Cruiserweight Champion Evan Courageous, who was with Spice, only to have Spice turn on Courageous, and that's how Medusa won as she pinned Courageous with a simple German suplex. And now you know I'm against this intergender mixed tag. I get it. Training with the guys, I get it. But to have it as a straight up competition, work or not, it just doesn't sell. It's not believable. I'm not into the man versus woman violence, whether it's a play and opera. People say, well, chaos, what about the movies? It's totally different. This is supposed to be a sports entertainment, whether it's a work or not, a musical, a violence, physicality, opera, storytelling, emotional investment, ring psychology. It doesn't work. It doesn't sell. It's not believable. That's my opinion. On that same card, WCW Hardcore Champion Mr. Wiggle Wiggle Norman Smiley pins Ming after Fit Finlay hit Ming with a lead pipe, because there's no other way you're going to beat Ming, a.k.a. Haku, perhaps the toughest wrestler, maybe the toughest man on the planet. I had a chance to meet Haku, Ming, whatever you want to call him, one heck of a gentleman, this past year, 2023, at the class of 2023 New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame in Fan Fest 8 for Joe Bruin. What a guy. What a humble guy, but you don't want to fuck with him, that's for sure. And again, I apologize for the cussing. A little carried away with that today, and I sincerely, I mean that. But it happens, man. Continuing on December 19th, 1999 with Starrcade for WCW. The Revolution, Shane Douglas, Dean Malenko, Perry Saturn, and Asa defeat Hacksaw Jim Duggan and the Varsity Club of Mike Rotunda, Kevin Sullivan, and Rick Steiner. And if you remember correctly, the Varsity Club turned on Hacksaw, and I believe he had to give up his U.S. citizenship. Dumb storyline that was for WCW in 99. And Vampiro with the Misfits pinned Dr. Death Steve Williams. Now, how about that? And because Vampiro pinned Williams, he got 5 minutes with Oklahoma. If you remember who that was, Ed Ferrara or whoever the fuck that was. I swore again, didn't I? No way Vampiro, for as legit as he is, could do anything with Dr. Death Steve Williams and the Misfits. You see where the storylines were back then, right? And why WCW failed after the Monday Night Wars. Creative Control, Gerald and Patrick, with Kurt Hennig, defeat Harlem Heat and Midnight. If any of you remember this, I'll give you kudos. Double J, Jeff Jarrett pinned Dustin Rhodes in a bunkhouse brawl after old Slapnuts hit Rhodes with the guitar. Diamond Dallas Page pins David Flair in a crowbar on a pole match. Sting, as Schiavone would say, with Miss Elizabeth defeats Lex Luger by disqualification after Liz, the lovely Miss Elizabeth, who never got involved in matches, hit Sting with his own baseball bat, while Sting had Luger in the Scorpion Deathlock. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Kevin Nash defeats Sid Vicious in a powerbomb match. Chris Benoit defeats Jeff Jarrett in a ladder match to win the vacant WCW United States title. And here's the big one. Here we are in 1999, and we go back to the imitation gimmick of replaying the legit Montreal screw job. As I read it to you, you'll remember Goldberg, Bret Hart. I'll give you the notes. WCW Heavyweight Champion Bret Hart defeats Goldberg by submission in a no disqualification match. Now, if you remember correctly, Rowdy Roddy Piper ended up being the ref after several refs were taken out during the match. Now, Piper, if you remember correctly, because I certainly do, called for the bell a la the Montreal screw job. Now, this is well documented if you do your due diligence and you know the history, and I know a lot of you do. Now, Bret Hart suffered a severe concussion in this match due to the Goldberg mule kick. The injury was basically and virtually career-ending because not long after, Bret Hart retired from pro wrestling, and to this day says and claims that Goldberg and this was the actual factual story, and how they imitated the Montreal screw job with Piper and the whole 9 yards. And Hart did suffer concussion syndrome, and he did retire. Talk about a clusterfuck, and that's what it was in 1999 for WCW, and this whole card proves it. We fast forward here in the time machine. December 19th, 1998. Wait, let me make sure that I got the right notes here. Let me make sure. No, let's go forward to go back and back to go forward. December 19th. Fast forward in the time machine. 2005. The WWE holds its third annual Holiday with the Troops, which is now Tribute to the Troops, from Bagram Air Force Base in Bagram, Afghanistan. A big salute and acknowledgement and honor and respect to our armed forces and our troops around the world. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, all of it. Look, that reminds me of the movie Stripes. John Candy, right? Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. But in all seriousness, big shout out to our armed forces and our military around the world. Because in 2023, what's going on in Russia, Ukraine, Israel, Gaza, Palestine, we don't know what's going to happen. Even here in our own country and the invasion that's going on. Just want to throw that out there. On that show in 2005, on this date in pro wrestling history, the Big Show choke slams Carlito for the win. Mick Foley pins JBL in a no-holds-barred match a la the Mandible Claw, which I happen to take Mr. Sacco from Mick Foley. That's right, it's here on the network. Myself and Slick Wagner Brown challenged Jerry the King Lawler with Mick Foley as the special guest referee. And yes, I took Mr. Sacco. It was an ugly sight, the Mandible Claw. It's here on the network. All you got to do is look for it. Snitsky pins Shelton Benjamin. Shelton Benjamin, one of the best grapplers and shoot fighters in all of WWE. WWE champion, you can't see me. Back then it was Doctor of Thugonomics, maybe. John Cena pins Chris Masters. The WWE Intercontinental Champion, Ric Flair defeats Jonathan Coachman, of all people, with the figure 4 leg lock. Candice Michelle and Maria defeat Women's Champion Trish Stratus and Ashley Massaro. How about that? Shawn Michaels pins Triple H in a boot camp match. And if you're not down with that, we got 2 words for you. No, I'm not going to say that here. Michaels hit Triple H with the old super kick, sweet chin music. December 19th, we'll stay in 2005. Society's Rejects, Mark Anarchy and Rocco Shirota defeat DDB and The Rage and Waiapu, Hawaii, for the Action Zone Wrestling Tag Team titles. Waiapu. I think I said that the right way. I do speak Polynesian. You guys know that. I might have got that one wrong. Back into the time machine. December 19th, 2007. Colt Cabana defeats Colt Boom Boom Cabana. What a troublemaker he was in AEW. Caused all this shit with CM Punk. I'm just saying, man. Go out to Mindy's Donuts. Colt Cabana defeats Sean Spears in Louisville, Kentucky for control of their OVW Southern Tag Team titles. And Cabana went on to choose Charles Evans as his new partner, and Sean Spears was persona non grata. December 19th, 2010. The WWE holds its TLC pay-per-view. Edge, a.k.a. now in AEW, Adam Copeland, wins the World Wrestling Entertainment Heavyweight title in a 4-way TLC match against Kane, who was the defending champion, Alberto Del Rio, and Rey Mysterio. How about that? December 19th, 2018. Raul Mata passes at the age of 71. And for you fans that don't know who Raul Mata was, he was one of the best Mexican grapplers, luchadors in all of history. Mata was the longest reigning Mexican national light heavyweight champion. Rest in peace, Raul Mata. Let's go forward to go back and back to go forward. December 19th, 1985. The WWF holds its Saturday night's main event at the Sundome in Tampa, Florida. I used to love Saturday night's main event in the 80s. 85, I was in my, early 20s. Unbelievable. It really was a spectacle. Yeah, it was a little comedic, a little carny, a little corny, whatever you want to call it. But it was the golden era. Rock and wrestling, the war to settle the score, brawl to settle it all, MTV. It really was unbelievable. Saturday night's main event. On that card, Hulk Hogan defeats Terry Funk to retain the World Wrestling Federation heavyweight title. Macho Man Randy Savage defeats George the Animal Steele. In a 6-man tag team match, Jesse the Body Ventura, Ace Cowboy Bob Orton Jr., and Rowdy Roddy Piper defeat Uncle Elmer, Cousin Luke, and Hillbilly Jim. Nikolai Volkov goes over on Corporal Kirshner. And the JYD, the Junkyard Dog, and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat beat Mr. Fuji and The Rock, the Magnificent One, Don Morocco, the original Rock. Fans, this was one heck of a show for this date today in pro wrestling history for December 19th. We went all the way back to the 1930s, all the way to 2018. And here we are in 2023. So we're going to wrap it up. We're just about 40 minutes in. One of the longer shows. I had 10 pages of notes. I did my due diligence. I want you guys to know I really appreciate you being here. I put a face to the product. You get to know me. I bring you into my home. Nobody else does this. Everyone else has got green screens and graphics. I do it, as I always say, raw dog. Not only for my motivation, my passion, my love, my dedication, my distraction in this crazy, insane world. And hopefully I can bring some levity to you, the fans. I'll be back again this week as we head into Christmas and New Year's. Again, as I always say, much love and respect. I'll say that to say this, because I tell it like it is. Don't you dare miss it.